Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to People Don't Listen. Learn to Explain live demonstration. Acharya Prashant with IIT Madras 2023. So anyway, people don't listen. That is absolutely the truth. A lot of people don't really listen. Especially, it seems like it's getting worse. United States, absolutely freaking lootly. You have people who just believe in their own point of view and not willing to listen to the opposing point of view because they believe in their point of view is so correct and so right that there are no opposing point of view that can even, how to say, come close to being right. Then even when they hear a contradiction in their own point of view, they still believe their own point of view to be right. It's really kind of crazy. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started.
Greetings, sir. When we talk to people on behalf of plant-based society, generally encounter questions like people get confused and get defensive between veganism and vegetarianism. How do we help them make the connection without being feel forced?
Wow, what a question. I'm trying to think if I can even answer that. I mean, you cannot help how people feel. Just try to explain your way without being arrogant. In a kind manner. Explain it in the kindest manner possible without being arrogant, and if they take offense to that, well, guess what? No matter how you explain it, it's just not going to ever come across right. But you do the best you can with what you got, and that's about all you can really hope for. But anyways, let's go ahead and hear what Prashant here has to say. Acharya.
No, it's simple. You can start from anywhere. You may simply say uh, you are a vegetarian, but you are not a vegan. So you take milk, right?
Yes, sir.
So you take milk, right?
The thing is, though, vegan is not just milk. I mean, you can even eat vegetables, and it still could not be vegan. Just in case you don't know what vegan is, and I try to do my best to explain it, best to look it up, but this is as far as what I know. If an animal was involved in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it is not vegan. Because if you use, I believe, again, obviously you don't eat animal products, but that's vegetarian as well. But what makes it vegan, I believe, is the fact that if an animal was involved in making that, or any animal products or animal-based use, I believe, then it's not vegan. So like almonds, generally speaking, you get almond milk and almond milk. Anyways, it doesn't require any animals to make. You know, people plant them, people water them, and that's about it. Even in the vegan community, I think like I forget. There's something to do with bees that they don't know quite, or weren't quite sure whether it's vegan or not. Because, anyways, I hope that is a decent explanation of what vegan is. Let me know if your definition of vegans it could be a little bit different from mine. I've never really cared to look it up, but I'm kind of curious as to is there other interpretation of what vegan is.
What are these shoes you are wearing? What are these shoes you are wearing? Is that leather? Is that leather? Is that leather?
Yes.
No, no, no. I'm not asking. I'm demonstrating. So that's probably leather. Do you see the relation between the glass of milk in your hand and the leather on your feet? Basic question. You can ask with a wry kind of smile. You need not offend somebody. It's a thing of general knowledge, no? We should be reasonably informed citizens.
Yeah.
Do you see where that leather comes from? That leather comes from the same cattle that was exploited to give you milk as long as it could. And when it couldn't, then its flesh was extracted and probably exported.
I don't know. Can we say exploited? I'm kind of curious. Here's my thoughts on that. Cattle are. I watched some nature documentary, and I believe cattle has been so domesticated that they're incapable of defending themselves, so they depend on humans for defense. So I can see that maybe as more of a mutual benefit, where we protect the cattle and the cattle provides us. We protect and feed the cattle, and then we provide protection and food for it. Or I'm sorry, we provide food and protection for the cattle. The cattle provides us with milk. Don't get me wrong. I think one could argue that it's like, well, we domesticated them for so long that we kind of made them dependent on us. It's like, well, that's what kind of have evolution kind of happens. It's like evolution happens in weird ways. Don't get me wrong. Some are a bit forceful, but I don't know how else to answer that. Let me know what your thoughts on that, if you care to answer. Like, is it a kind of a mutual thing where we provide protection and food, and they provide milk, leather, and their flesh? It's really weird to say that.
And the leather came to you in the form of your shoes and your waist belts and what else? The wallet in your pocket and many other things.
When he says that, I was thinking, is my stuff made out of that, or am I too poor to afford real leather? I think I am. I don't know if all my stuff is made out of real leather or not. I don't think so. All plastic. Probably.
Do you see that that milk is the leather? Do you see that the milk is the flesh? Do you see that the milk is not natural? Do you see that the animal is forcibly impregnated? And that's worse than rape.
Ooh. I mean, I could see it that way, but at the same time, I could see it a little bit different. Only because I think, obviously, animals are going to multiply. Is instinctually in their nature. If you look at animals in the wild, obviously, whenever it comes to that season, most females are going to get pregnant if there's a male close by. It's just going to happen. It's just what animals do. Now, the only difference here is that I don't know if cows have that seasonality. Like, because obviously I think they get pregnant like during a certain period, that way that their calves are born during the best time of the year, like spring. I believe usually most animals are born as after winter, so that the best chance of survival to prepare for the coming winters. Now, it could be forcibly, because I don't know if cows have like that same what do you call it? That same time frame where they get impregnated in one part of the year and they give birth during the spring. Whether we're kind of forcing them to get pregnant outside of that cycle or not, I don't know. It could be.
That's worse than rape, actually.
I'd say it's about the same thing, though.
The female mammal reminds you of your own species. The female mammal is being artificially impregnated several times over the course of her life, so that you can have that kheer, that milk or whatever.
I will say to that, though, I mean, again, if they're out in nature, they're going to get pregnant anyway. If there's a male close by, of course. It's not like they're guaranteed to have it, because if kind of like, I guess you kind of look at like the dog population or cat population in big cities, or in kind of cities, just in areas where there's a dense population of them and they're running wild, they will grow rapidly, because whenever that instinct kicks in, they're going to multiply. So to say that they happen multiple times, or get impregnated multiple times, that's just going to happen anyway. But you could say that we're artificially forcing it to happen much sooner, and to have it much more times than what's regularly occurred. And yeah.
And then, the female calf is of some use. So she might probably be retained.
Oh, yeah.
But the male calf is of zero use.
Yep.
Zero.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point in feeding it?
Yep.
Nobody feeds the male calf. You know where the male calf goes?
Butcher.
And the leather from the male calf is extraordinarily soft and therefore quite expensive. It gets sold at a premium. Do you see all this? No, just asking. No, you can continue sipping the milk, yes. Just asking. And these are questions of general knowledge, right? I mean, if you sit for the UPSC exams, one of these questions might actually be asked there.
Interesting.
So it's not something personal or controversial. I'm asking you something that you should anyway be aware of as a responsible citizen.
Real quick, I don't think a lot of people think about these things. For me, I really did it until he started speaking about it. I never really thought about the this process, you could say, with the cow. I did a little bit because one of my coworkers wanted to be self-sufficient, where he would artificially impregnate. He would get a cow. It's really bad. Here we go. Check this out. He said he would artificially impregnate a cow, and in a sense kill the calf and eat the meat. Then do it again until the cow is can only give one more birth, and then raise the last calf to do the same thing again. Sounds kind of cruel, but I don't know. I understand survival. I understand being self-sufficient. But I can completely understand whenever someone says that's pretty cruel. But again, when you look at nature, animals are not going to have any kind of sympathy for us as well. That doesn't mean we have to be cruel to them. But if you do it for survival purposes, to eat and feed, and not just for cruelty, I can get behind that.
India has a great meat export economy, and India has a great leather industry. So much so that some of the IITs offer BTech programs in leather technology. That's unheard of in most of the other universities. Where is that coming from? That's coming from that glass probably. No, you may continue sipping it. BTech leather technology.
I'm kind of curious as where he's going with this.
That's very closely linked to BTech dairy technology. And when you say you are vegetarian, kindly tell me the tree you are getting your milk from. Coconut? Banana? Some magical banana? You squeeze it and you get banana milk?
Real quick, in some stores they're selling banana milk. It tastes pretty good, but it can go bad pretty quickly. Almond milk, oat milk is some things over here.
Where are you coming from? Which island? Which planet of the solar system that you think that milk is vegetarian?
I mean, isn't it? Milk's vegetarian, right?
Or if the fellow has some concern towards
Yeah, milk's vegetarian.
the ecological disaster we are going through, ask him, do you understand where does climate change come from? Do you understand that glass of milk has everything to do with climate change?
I will say this about that especially too. That's another thing I heard, that like the cow farts, as they say, is causing a lot of issues. But I think this is a great opportunity for someone. If someone can develop a car fart vacuum, I'm sorry to say that, but something to take the cow farts and way to convert that into energy, that would be super amazing. The reason why being is because there is kind of an energy crisis. Yes and no. Obviously, we have many ways of sourcing it, but we're doing it via coal or burning something, as opposed to, say, renewable, like solar or wind or whatever. If someone can find a way to turn cow farts into energy. I don't know how big of a thing that is, but I think that could be very beneficial, especially since the cow industry, clearly even in India and in America for sure too, is quite, I don't know if popular is the right word, but quite big. That's the word. Quite big. If you can find a way to convert the cow farts or into energy, that'd be great. I don't know how that would be kind of possible, because it's, not gonna plug a cow's butt into something and then just, suck out the farts or something. But
Do you understand where does the depletion of forest cover come from?
mm-hmm.
Do you understand that the cow or the buffalo is a huge animal? And to get to that size, she requires a tremendous amount of feed. Where does that feed come from? That feed comes from clearing away of jungles. You clear the jungle so that you can cultivate grains. 80% of those grains go to animals of slaughter.
Making them feel bad.
If human beings today are producing 100 units of produce, 75 to 80% of that is for the animals that would be slaughtered. And it's not just about the produce, it is about the fields the produce comes from. The fields come at the cost of jungles. And when jungles are lost, n number of species are just collateral damage. You do not even kill them, they just disappear because of loss of habitat.
Mm-hmm.
You think you are just clearing away the trees. No, you have cleared away so many species. They are gone forever, never to return.
That's also to include what Sadhguru was trying to do with a lot of the farmlands and the water in the rivers. Save the rivers, because I believe the forest is what helps retain water in these rivers, I believe, and by clearing them out, it's being evaporated or being lost through, well, I guess evaporation, I believe. I can't remember exactly what was said, but I believe the trees and the forest itself was helping retain water in the mountainous regions and in the paths of the rivers. And with the forest being gone, I guess there's no perhaps there's no shade to prevent the water from evaporating, because the trees hold a lot of the water. So that too.
No, why do you want to keep away that glass? Finish it off.
So far, it's all support in veganism,
But nobody tells this to you.
I believe.
Because the flesh industry, the milk industry, the leather industry, and there are so many other things that you derive from the animal's body. All those industries are interlinked and they are huge. You could add several more O's to the sound I just made. Huge, never to stop, infinitely huge. It is money power that is preventing that knowledge from coming to you.
Money power.
It is money power that is preventing from your textbooks from carrying that knowledge. Otherwise, in any civilized society, these facts should have been parts of textbooks, class 8th onwards. These are basic things that any child deserves to know. But governments across the world hide these facts.
I don't know about the government side. That'd be kind of weird. I would say the cow industry would hide that because they don't want people to think about it. I could understand that. I think for me, or at least my belief is that a lot of people just want to remain ignorant, or they are never told about it, and don't really care to know where their food and stuff is coming from 100%, because they got other things to worry about. Why should they care about that? As long as it's being provided to me, I don't care where it comes from, kind of idea.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So no offense, just facts. Just facts.
Thank you.
Namaste, Acharya ji.
So I'll say so far that's 100. That seems to be 100% support in veganism, but there's still a lot of problem with veganism as well, because if you say exploitation of animals, there's, I think, an argument in there that anything that, in the sense that bees do, because they pollinate stuff, which is what they're supposed to do, because they get the nectar or whatever it is from the plant, and by doing so they also pollinate. But by taking from that plant that produced the seeds or the fruits or the vegetables or whatever it may be, that could be looked at as exploitation of the bees. I can see some argument against it or for it in terms of it being whether it is veganism, whether it is vegan or not vegan. But the safest way to ensure to be veganism or vegan is to plant it yourself and to pollinate it yourself. That way you're not you know for sure that it's not being exploited by another animal besides yourself.
My question is from the previous Bhagavad Gita session. Somebody asked a question on veganism. I mean, it was not directly on veganism, but one thing led to another, and there was a certain part where you talked about veganism. So you said that as a human, we tend to commit violence because of our bodily compulsion. You said it is called in Hindi Sharirik Vivashta. So, I mean, how and where we can draw a line to make sure that the violence that we are committing is our bodily compulsion and
You
not...
don't draw a line. Just keep challenging the line. You don't need to draw a line. The body is anyway always drawing the line as per its own agenda. Your job is to challenge the line. You don't need to draw the line. That task belongs to the body. The body keeps drawing a line, and what do? You keep pushing the line, pushing the line. The body is saying, you can have that glass of milk. And you push. You say, all right, after 2 hours. After 2 hours, the body again says, why not have it? And again you push. The line comes from the body. Your job is to struggle, strive. That's what you're here for. To struggle against yourself. Never to draw any line. And you have to go till the point where all the lines get obliterated.
So I think it depends on the individual. It's not...
It depends on where the line currently is. And at no place can you say that you don't need to push anymore. You just need to keep getting better and better.
I don't quite understand that. I think I understand what he's trying to say. At the same time, I could see how it can be a bit of a confusing answer. And what I mean by that so far is because he's saying there should be no line. Okay, say for example, it's like, okay, no meat products, great. But we can have milk or honey. It's like, oh, no, we shouldn't have that. Keep pushing the line. It's like, okay, nothing that animals touch, I will eat. And then he's like, well, no, that's a line. Just keep blowing that away. What about, don't even do fruits or vegetables? Like, there has to be a line, I believe. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, and let me know how far do you keep blowing this line? Is the line restricted to like animals? Then I get it. At that point, the line should be blown away because there should be no animals involved. But you kind of have to make that a little bit clear in a statement, because there's going to be a line drawn in terms of like, okay, no animal products. That there's the line, but you can have plant products. No. That's the line needs to be blown. You need to include plant products into not taken because that line is drawn there. You shouldn't draw it there. Keep going. Okay, no plant or animal products. There's the line. It's like no, blow that away too. It's like, where do you stop? So I think what he's well, let him continue. Maybe he'll say it here.
You have to keep pushing continuously, irrespective of where you are. Because the body will be there till the last breath, no? So the body will keep throwing some line at you.
Mhm.
Your job is to again and again challenge it.
Last year,
Okay. So again, like I said, does it mean you just stop eating and drinking altogether? Because at that point, there's literally no line. So I don't think he means it that way. I think he probably means it in terms of perhaps animal products. I'm not exactly sure. Let me know.
I think last year we had a session with YV Care on ahimsa, and there was a lady. She was an activist, and she asked a question with you that they rescue animals, and some of those animals are habitual of eating meat, and in order to make them survive, they have no choice but to feed them meat. So you said that it's wrong because you are saving one animal and you are killing another one just to
Ooh.
make that particular animal live.
Ooh.
And so that's wrong. And you also said that, and that line stuck with me. You said that but we have to apply the same rule on us, even to survive or ourselves. If something happens, suppose we are in a hospital, and in order to survive, we have to maybe consume a chicken soup or something, then we have to let it go.
I can see where he can differentiate this very easily. We don't have to necessarily eat meat to survive. We're smart enough to watch our micronutrients. I watched this one guy where he was a fruitarian, which he only ate fruit. Again, he tried many different diets, and one of them is a fruitarian, where he didn't eat any vegetables, he didn't eat any meat, just fruits to survive. And hold on. And yeah, so he just ate fruits to survive. Which at that point, I think this is where you can go to say, like, hey, you're not killing anything, you're not harming anything by eating fruits, because fruits are in fact meant to be eaten. That's how the plant survives. You're supposed to eat it all too, mind you, with the seeds, because you're supposed to, as you go number 2, the seeds will come out whole or complete with the nutrients it needs in a new area too. So that's how fruit trees or fruit plants survive, I believe. Whereas I think vegetables, sometimes you end up destroying the plant by grabbing what you need from it. So you're harming the vegetable, you're destroying it completely. I don't know if it's all vegetables or some. Then animals, of course, you're causing harm. Here, carnivores need meat to survive. Their bodies are not adapted to eat vegetables, and by nature, it's not. You can't go into nature and start forcing all these carnivores to eat, vegan food. So the distinction there is that we can consciously make a decision on what we eat, whereas animals do not. They eat based on instincts.
See, first of all, don't get into situations where you have to pet.
I will say this real quick though. It's kind of odd that it says it's bad to kill another animal to feed another animal, because that's just kind of nature thing. But for you to do that, perhaps that's a bad thing. But to allow the animals themselves to do it themselves, maybe that's a bit of a different story. Maybe that's what the distinction is that not you to kill an animal to feed another animal, but for allow the animal itself to feed itself, and if it dies because it fails at it, then it's okay, maybe.
Animals that require flesh for their life. And if you do that, then happily there are vegan alternatives to all that. Cats and dogs all have packaged vegan diets available. I hope you are not domesticating wolves or cheetahs. That's the flavor of the season. So as far as cats and dogs go, there are vegan diets available. See, ultimately you want to give them the nourishment that they need, right? That nourishment comes in the form of a chemical. What are vitamins and proteins and all these things? They are just chemicals, right? All chemicals can be factory produced. So you give that nourishment, fine. It's just a chemical, right? Be it B12, be it anything, it's a molecule. You produce that molecule in a factory and take it. You're producing so many things in a factory. For saving, you're producing everything in a factory. Now for saving lives, why can't you produce B12 in a factory or taurine in a factory? Taurine is the chemical that you require for the health of cats' neural systems. That can be produced. But it's super gross to say, I now have a wolf, therefore I am feeding it rabbits. Nope. Or I have a python. Why the hell are you keeping that python? Release it. That belongs to the jungle. And the python can happily survive in the jungle. The rabbit cannot. Once the rabbit has been with you, even for let's say 6 or 8 months, now it cannot survive in the jungle. There is no need, in fact, even to domesticate rabbits, frankly. No need. Unless you are rescuing them from somewhere or something. In fact, all kinds of domestication should be strictly limited only to the rescued animals. And even those animals, when they can be on their own, they should be released into the wild. Because they are not made to live with you. You think you are taking care of them. For them, it might be another matter altogether. They don't want to look at your face. You are fond of them. They want to be in their own habitat.
Okay, a little bit of pushback there. So, no, animals really is genuinely meant to be domesticated. We just forcefully domesticated dogs. Kind of cats. They're still a little bit wild from my understanding. Again, any animals that's relatively domesticated has been, in a lot of sense, forcefully domesticated. And at this point are incapable of surviving on their own. I mean, you can even release dogs to the wild. And they can kind of survive. It all depending. I think dogs and cats are released into like cities have a higher chance of survival because a lot of people throw away food, so they can go into trash cans and stuff and find something to eat. I think in Australia they have wild dogs there that have adapted quite greatly to survival there, whereas it could be a little bit different in different parts of the country, of course, in the world, should I say. But yeah, you can even release dogs, actually. There are many countries where pets have gotten free or have ran away and have been living on the streets. But at that point, it becomes a problem because there's no natural predators for them, and they're going to reproduce very, very wildly. So I'm kind of curious as to his thoughts on that. You can release dogs in cities and stuff, and they will relatively survive. There could be a few of them that won't because they don't quite adapt as well, but then there are some that can adapt quite well. And I know this because in where I'm from, there's kind of a lot of dogs problem. And I was gonna say, like, albino pythons are not gonna survive in the wild very well, because they don't have the pigmentation to camouflage themselves. They're going to be exposed all the time. I'm wondering if he would say that's fine to domesticate that because that is a very rare occurrence. Don't get me wrong, it's like an exception to the rule. But would he be okay with the exception to the rule? Now, I'm not going to sit there and say, like, oh, well, if it allows that guy, maybe you can, maybe save another one, No, it's just like very much these exceptions to the rules. Wolves, some people do in Alaska. They domesticate I think they're mostly wolves and dogs because they need them to travel. They use them to travel. It's the only way to travel long distances up in like Alaska, in the northern parts of a lot of countries because it's, cars and all that don't travel very well through that, so they need dog sleds. And I'm again curious as to what his opinion on that is. It's kind of a mutual again, it's a mutual what do you call it, mutual agreement. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what the right word for it. A mutual thing between two people. The owner of the dogs will feed the dogs, will house the dogs, and the dogs will provide transportation. So these dogs don't no longer have to hunt because food is provided for them. You know, and again, these things are kind of necessary because this is how we humans have kind of adapted over there. We could say that, kick them out of these wintry areas and bring them south where cars can work and all of that. And then just to release those dogs, I guess that's a solution to that. So just say that you can't live up there, you have to move down, and then release the dogs. Again, I don't know. I'm genuinely curious as to his thoughts because I do understand where it's coming from. Is he a vegan? I need to look that up. I will look that up. That one I do want to look. I thought I've got no indication that he was vegan, except for now, actually. I don't know what else I have to throw at this. I think I've said all that I have to say. But again, again, I guess I need to look at how vegan has transformed also, how their definition of what is considered to be vegan. So obviously, you can't have any animal milk. I'm wondering if you can have human milk. Oof. That's weird to think about, but it's not. It's probably vegan, to be drinking the milk of someone else's mother. You have, I say I like oat milk. I like oat milk a lot. There's actually another milk that I bought that's called the brand of it, or the labeling of it's called Not Milk, and it tastes amazing. I like that. I don't know what it's made out of. I should have looked it up. I need to go buy some more. I like it. But the problem is these alternatives are so expensive that poor people really can't afford it. You have this really, really cheap milk. You get like a lot for so little, and then you have these other milks that you get half for the same price. So it's a lot of these things that are generally talked about, like things we need to think about, nature or whatever. Anytime there's these changes, it's the poor that gets affected, because if you say to ban milk, now all we have is all this alternative to milk. The demand for that's going to skyrocket because now milk is gone, and everyone who buys milk will buy these alternatives perhaps, and demand's going to go up and the price is going to go up, and now poor people can't afford it. Yeah, I mean, if we generally start turning into vegans or living a vegan life, that's a privileged position to be in, because to say that, you can look at the products like, hold on, let's see, yeah, it says vegan here. In order for something to be vegan, it has to go through a lot of, I won't say it has to go through a lot of process, but there's a lot more things that has to go into it to ensure that animals are not involved in it. I mean, mind you, a lot of stuff is not involved anyway, but that's going to up the cost because there's more process that's generally going to be involved. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're going into the way that we don't need animals to make stuff anymore. A lot of synthetic leather, a whole bunch of other things, so we're heading that direction, but we can't force it. Now, the chemicals he's talking about in terms of cats and dogs, I mean, it almost seems like he's supporting like GMO kind of things. Not GMO, but it almost seems like it a little bit. Like we're genetically making something. Genetically modified product, GMP. So, it's not modified, like genetically composed product. GCP. Where we grab some chemicals and stuff and put it together. and feed it to animals. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, veterinarian. I don't know how well, cats and dogs will be able to handle that. But anyways, that's my reaction to people don't listen, learn to explain. And I absolutely 100% agree with that. People definitely do not listen. And anyways, I gotta definitely look up if Acharya is a vegan. Anyways, that's my reaction. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.